Hey guys, it's early June 2024 and today we're going to take you aboard and test sail the Alubat Ovni 370.
Alubat's lovely Ovni 370. The owner of the boat kindly let us take it out today from Les Sables. It's Monday the 10th of June. Weather-wise, at the moment it's about 18 degrees, might be reaching 20 if we're lucky later. We're currently going out at low tide, which is 1.46 meters, I think our skipper kindly said. High tide around 6 o'clock, I believe, maybe 7. We'll go up by about 3 meters, so it'll be over 4.5 meters depth. I think we're expecting fairly light winds with sustained winds of 12 to 15 knots or thereabouts, maybe a bit more with the odd gust if we're lucky. So we should be able to get some great shots for you guys to show you how this lovely boat goes.
As we thought it was going to be, but wind's picking up. We got the code 0 out, which is a fantastic sail. I believe the sails are made locally here in the Vendée, so maybe we'll see if we can go past sometime. Just having a look at the moment, we've got a true wind speed of around 15-16 knots. Lovely job.
I only had the sail of that one going.
Hey, no, it's great, mate. Everyone's out having a good time today on a Monday. I don't know if you know in France, but a lot of shops and businesses close on Mondays because they're open on Saturdays, so make the most of it. We have square top main, code 0. We're averaging sort of 7.5 knots in. It says 15 knots of wind, but I reckon sustained wind we've got about 13 knots of wind, which is pretty good for a 37-foot boat. She's full aluminium. We're going to go into this through the tour a bit on actually how Alubat constructs their boats compared to other aluminium manufacturers. If you want a full factory tour, because they have asked, if we want access, it's down to you guys. Let us know in the comments below. So I think it'd be really, really interesting. Very, very light steering. One of the things you've got to notice about this is your helms are pretty much directly over your rudders, twin helm, which gives you plenty of feel what's going on. She's a lot of fun. She's very, very responsive. Yeah, she's great boat. I'd be more than happy, once you get to know the systems, like I say, we'll go through the reefs and that in a minute. But I think for most people you could quite easily single-hand this. She's a blue water ready boat to go anywhere around the world on your own as a couple. Very, very, very stable. I think Sarah's struggling with the camera a little bit, but want me to come off the wind a little bit, make it easier for you?
Please. Thank you.
I don't do it too much. See what's going on. Is that better?
Yeah.
Alright.
I can get a better shot of you now. Just change hands. Ah, there we go.
Yeah, it slowed her down a bit. Is that better?
Yeah. Stay there. No, I want you there.
I'm not doing anything. Just look at the waves. Look at the waves and you go, try to keep your track parallel to the waves.
Okay.
So you can...
You get a full tour of the inside when we get in. Something that I want to do underway, because I know this is very important to me. I know it's really important to you guys. I'm actually sat in on the port side at the nav desk. Even though the Ovni 37 is marked up as 37 foot, it's actually 39 foot with a very, very wide beam. So she's actually bigger than what you expect. I want to give you my view of the nav desk, so you know while you're underway and so on. And obviously you have to remember too that these boats are raised saloons. So give me a second, I'm going to flip you around. As I say, we're on the port side, the starboard tack at the moment. But as you can see, my view here from the chair, I can see all the way forward, no problem at all. Obviously, if I want to see what's going on out on the starboard side, I have to stand up because we're on the hill. But just here, the companionway, you can see out the companionway, you can see what's going on out there. And I hope you can hear actually how quiet it is in this boat. I've got everything we need at the nav desk. We'll go through this more in a second. These guys actually optioned out to have one chart plotter down here, which is your B&G Zeus. I think that's a 9-inch chart plotter. Your B&G VHF, Fusion Stereo, so on, Iridium Go, and your switches. They decided to have just one chart plotter down here, and then up in the cockpit, as you'll see in a minute, just to have their repeaters and so on. I just wanted you to have an idea of the light while we're underway and actually how quiet it is. It's all about functional practicalities. The boat has to be comfortable. If you're going around the world, it's got to be comfortable. But for the guys at Alubat, it's about function, strength, durability, the ability to get you from A to B safely and well, to be able to move around the yacht really, really easily and comfortably. And it's getting around this boat, it's evident that a lot of thought has gone into that. Just above me by the companionway, you have your winches. Starboard side, you have a Luma 48 self-tailing electric winch, and I would imagine it's a dual speed winch bank of clutches. Spin lock, good old British company. These are all in French, but pretty evident. You have your second reef, third reef, you know, so on and so forth. Just to the right of this winch, you'll see you have a second bank of clutches, deck management systems, and then everything running forward. 2 opening forward hatches for draft, and there is one just above my head. So if you're out doing watch, or you want to pop your head up and have a good look. Port side, you have a Luma 46 self-tailing manual winch, and once again everything is repeated over here. Bank of clutches, you know, deck management system, and this here is for lifting and lowering your centerboards. Very, very easy, and if you're a little bit older or lacking in strength, then you can always pop it on a winch. The centerboards are milled out of a solid piece of aluminium, so they're not light. You know, it's a heavy aerodynamic bit of kit. They're actually shaped, so if you imagine, let me know in the comments below the scientific name for the shape of a wing. I don't know, we'll give you a t-shirt or something if you get it right. They're actually shaped correctly for stability and obviously to reduce drag. Forward, could have done some of this underway, but I was having way too much fun. It is a double barrel integral roller, furler, the Code Zero, Solent, and then you've got a spot here for a storm jib or something like that. By my feet you can see the electronic controls for your anchor windlass. And your anchor locker is just here. So a Lofren electric windlass just here. I'll point out that this is a crash or watertight bulkhead. Forward, I think is quite handy. They've actually put in some shelves like steps, so you know you can store some bits and pieces. I think this boat comes as standard with something like 80 meters of chain or 100 meters of chain before you start getting on your line, so there's loads of space in here. This comes as standard with 6 cleats, so 3 either side, 1 at the bow, midships, and then aft. If I was going for an option, I would put on extra cleats because it's always handy. Owner's cabin V-berth here, so that extra locker space comes forward. It does have some benefits because it is a, you know, there's that opening wheel. Extra aluminium space. I mean, it's a good size locker. But, you know, it's up to you. Your boat, configure it the way you want. Do that all important look. This boat's set up with non-slip, as we demonstrated nicely earlier. There's a hatch that goes down into your shower. There is non-slip everywhere. It's so easy to get around this boat. Really, really easy. So this one's actually set up with the option as a square mainsail. I think it's worth the extra money. You do have running backstays, which we'll have a look. And the only thing with the running backstays with the square top sail, once the sail is up, you actually have to slacken them off because of the way the square top is. But as soon as you get into the first reef, That square top will clear the running backstay, so you don't have to worry about slacking them off. All your halyards and sheets come back. You have a spin lock deck management system. They all run back. You can see either side. They all go back into the cockpit. So in theory, underway, there is no reason to actually come forward. Vang inboard, outboard trails. Walking through is really handy, and there are handholds going all the way forward. Here's your Genoa tracks. So Luma Genoa tracks inboard. Stay sail. Apologise. Access to port or marina, both starboard and port. They're going to come up. There is, I think you've got at least a foot and a half space walk through. One thing I really like getting up onto the top is there is a non-slip shell. I used this a couple of times when we were underway. So you have by your hard top non-slip and then non-slip up the top. So if you do have to go up there and manage anything on the boom, you know, anything to do with your mainsail, it's all pretty secure. And if you want to, you can have granny bars put forward. I think for this size boat, you don't really need them. Very good. Being aluminium, your hard top is fully integrated. It's all part of the build. Something I quite like, which we saw on the 430, is the fact that, just show you coming here, you actually have a cover that comes all the way down and covers an area of your cockpit. So when you're underway or on watch, and if the weather's pretty crappy, you have somewhere covered to sit, keep warm, keep out of the weather. It's really nice. Something that I think is another USP with these boats is your tail end, your sheet storage. When you're done, it's quite handy. They go a long way back, so all the way through. This is the access down into that workshop down below. So it's watertight. And then if you actually have a look, which I spotted earlier, just down here at the end of the benches, you have more storage too, which I think is pretty good. Everything's self-draining. You're not having to worry about water getting in. Your winches on both helms are Luma 46 self-tailing. They're manual. If you want the option to have them electric, you can. You know, I think if you have an e-winch or something like that, then there's not much point. And as we saw, you've got your repeaters here on the starboard helm, bow thruster, and your throttle controls just down by me. All the way over the boat, you'll see this, which I think is very practical. You have clip points for your safety harness, which, well, as we all know, is really practical. And then centrally in the cockpit table, there is storage. Table folds out, nice and easy. Nicely demonstrated there. I reckon you'll fit 4 people around it, 6, you know, at a pinch, but 4 very comfortably. And in the middle here you have a compass, and you all know how I love a compass. I think it's a very practical bit of kit. It's good, mate. What do you think? When we were under sail, what did you think as a popular area, and how easy was it to get around?
Very smooth around, very comfortable, wasn't at all worried. It's very comfortable, seems very manoeuvrable. Seems very light, but obviously, yeah, being aluminium, she's not going to be. Really nice, high quality boat.
Did you feel safe?
Yeah, totally. I love the finish of it too.
One thing I'm going to mention, which I didn't mention when I was on the helm, was actually how easy it is going from, you know, either helm. It's intuitive, and actually watching Luke manoeuvre
with between 50 and 60 degrees to the apparent wind. But that's as far as we get with the cut zero.
Okay.
Then you get to furl it and get the solent out, and you will get 30 degrees to the apparent wind.
While we're here aft, you have adjustable backstays, built-in integral with all the Ovni range. You have your aluminium arch, so this will support solar power and your other services. So if you wanted Starlink and so on, there's plenty of space, or larger panels. And as you can see, as these guys have put up, you actually have a sunshade here which will connect all the way across. What we call a skipper's bonnet, because none of us like being in the sun all that time. There is storage under the starboard and port side helm seat. And then just stepping off the boat, you can see you have access So, access to gas locker. You'll see that hatch forward from when we're in the cockpit, and there is storage here. And just by the starboard side, you have access to block for putting your outboard on, wind vane. Your swim ladder and so on is underneath here. Life raft under here, so if you do need it, it's right where you want it, whether the boat turtles or not. I think you'll agree she's an excellent boat. Inside. Yeah. That's all.
Okay, but I really love the extra storage space because this is raised up under here. Extra space you wouldn't normally have would be lower down actually in the bilges. So you know, you want to take the labels off all your cans and stuff like that. I think that's really handy. If you're champagne and wine, you can have cardboard and it's not going to go bad. I actually really like the position of the fridge here.
Okay. Just to let everybody know, we've just sort of come down the companionway. We're doing the tour inside together, and Sarah just wanted to point out some handy bits and bits that she sort of really liked about the boat.
Like I mentioned earlier, I really like the fact it's on lots of different levels. It's a 370, but it's actually 39 foot, and the fact it's on lots of different levels, it feels, it makes sense, like more homely.
Yeah.
Rather than just on one level.
So is that, I mean, is that just a fridge or a freezer?
It's a fridge.
That is a fridge. Oh, it is a pull-out drawer fridge. Excellent.
It's a fridge, and I think the position of it, I think it's great.
Yeah.
The fact that you're stepping up, you've got storage space. If you look right under there again. More. It's just because it's raised up, you've got extra space. It's like tucked out the way. You've got everything you need there. Cecilia said earlier that it's an aluminium hull. You've got system test for your insulation for the hull. I think the galley is really smart. All the colour scheme they've chosen.
Well, you do the cooking now, don't you?
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
You know, I'm a sucker for a black kitchen, but
I'm not gonna say anything.
no, it's just different from the norm, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just a you know, your standard stainless steel and whatever.
While we're here, though, while we're here at the nav desk, as you guys know, I did a little bit when we were out on the water. I just want to go through some of the switches and that, you know, the technical side of it quite quickly with you. Seat for one, we're on the port side. Seat for one of the very important things, obviously, you have all your switches, and I quite like the fact, it's nice with all the modern boats, you know, touchscreen and that, but I quite like the fact that you actually have proper switches. So if they break, they're easy to replace.
The leak test, the electrical leak test.
Okay.
So you choose the battery, and then if the two lights are on, it means that everything is okay on the boat.
Oh, okay.
So you can switch engine or...
And then you have a digital screen up here for your batteries, water levels and stuff like that. Something that you'll quite like is the access to the wiring. Everything is labelled and numbered. Not particularly easy for you guys to see, but even some of these wires down here, so that if you have to look into your manual and so on, it's very, very easy to reference what you're looking for, so you can troubleshoot. And the same with this panel, that will drop down, and as I mentioned earlier, you've got your VHF Iridium Go. This is like the owner's Fusion Stereo, and I like the fact that the chart plotter's actually put on a swing arm. Oops. For us, we'd actually have a larger 4K monitor, because this would be our workspace. You know, Sarah works from her laptop and stuff like that. So would this space be big enough, comfortable enough for you to work in while we're away?
Totally, actually. I can get the laptop out and demonstrate the size. It's not always easy to see on
Yeah.
screen, actually visualize the space, so I'll do that in a moment.
Yeah.
While you're talking, I was just saying, we mentioned to Cecilia earlier as well, the actual headspace you've got in here.
Yeah.
I'm 5'6". You're 5'8", 5'9".
I'm 5'8", 5'9". Yeah, let's do it. So I'm 5'8", 5'9". So I mean, if you're 6 foot, 6 foot something, you're gonna have room above your head.
Yeah.
So
You're fine.
there, you know, plenty of space.
Being a spinny spent a lot of time at the sink, you've got a lovely head height out the window.
Yeah, there's
Great view.
That's the I think the one thing to point out with the Ovni and the deck saloon is, you saw on the 43 that went round, and we'll put a link to that up here. Even stepping up into the saloon area, you've got full surround. Well, you've got full surround view.
Yeah, you have.
360 degrees.
It's actually really sociable, just standing here. Somebody's over sitting over there
Yeah.
at the saloon. No. You know,
Yeah.
in your galley, you're not separate. You were saying about other things earlier, little touches that you don't normally get. You've got extra storage space along here, which I think is quite cool.
Yeah. There's plenty of cupboard space underneath here. I'll give you a quick look while we're here. Actually, under some of the floor spaces. So you've got water tank here. Access to water tank. And just down, so on the galley side, it's water tank. And you can see you've got through holes there. Service holes, water. Pop that back down. And then a secondary water tank.
You can see all the aluminium, the quality of it, the soldering, and
There's your emergency gas shut-off right by your 2 gimbaled burner stove. And then I'll open the drawer for you. Let me know in the comments below if you want Sarah to come round on more boat tours with me. I think she makes the place look better.
drawer space. I showed you earlier, but I don't know if you saw this, Lee.
The kill space. No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to come down because I was talking to Luke.
Well, you've seen the workings of
That's
how
good,
the keel is. You actually see it visually.
So this is your kill box. If you want us to do the factory tour, you'll see how all this is put together and worked. It's not all nice. So you can actually see the red line that we were pulling from up the top.
Here, and it runs along the ceiling. Yeah. So it goes up here and then runs all the way back.
So it's not just a mast compression post, it also houses the lines. We're going to look how much light. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here on the west coast of France at Sable d'Olonne. We're into summer now, so evenings are longer, but the light that's coming into this boat is quite spectacular. Separate heads and shower, and this I love. For me,
yeah.
I'm actually going to get in there, so if you want to take the camera, for me this is a big USP for this boat. I mean, you've got a huge
Yeah.
walk-in shower,
Yeah.
Loads of room above your head, and if you're underway for whatever, there's a nice seat. You have your shower heads up here, and there's an opening hatch with a Dorade just above my head. And I'll have to get the. So I'll see you later.
The washing machine
Yeah.
or the gas well tank when there's
Right,
a
okay.
stove.
So oil tank for the stove if
Yeah.
it's been installed. Okay, I see.
I think it's really. I think it's a USB. It's a good use of space. Storage. While we're here, Sarah can point it down. Got access to bilge. Underneath here, you can see an aluminium plate. It's very, very good. Well, very tight fitting, so they're not going to squeak. And I don't know, maybe you want to show them the owners.
We've had a quick look in there earlier with the storage. I
All right,
think
well, I'm gonna
what's
have a
really
look.
good if you've got 4 smaller drawers, you don't always want one giant one. If you've got 4 smaller ones.
So a large double V berth. It's pretty good size. I haven't seen on the inside of this. You have to remember, guys. Sarah has. So, nice port lights. Opening hatch. That's really good. It's really good size, isn't it?
Yeah, when you put. Because you don't always want one giant one, do you?
No, very, very deep drawers. So you've got 4 drawers. That's good. I kind of like you got a step
You've
to
got
get
one
up
side
into
you
bed. And a hanging locker either side. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Just so you guys know, with the owners, if you're wondering why this box is here, and which is actually padded lined, the owners actually opted to have a larger secondary sail locker put in, and that's why this is here. Normally it wouldn't be there, so you'd have full ceiling height all the way forward. I mean, either way, it doesn't. Well, it's not a big deal, is it? Really, for me, it's not a deal breaker. I'm in the galley at the moment. Sarah's just demonstrating the large table. How much space have you got round there? Plenty of space?
Oh, you could certainly lie along here flat out. I'm 5'6", so I said you can lie out straight very easily.
Yeah.
Very comfortably, I should think.
Come up in it. Nice size.
This is actually really sociable space.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, it is.
Be nosy neighbours.
Yeah.
I like that.
So you have starboard side where Sarah is. You have an L-shaped sofa. I should imagine what, seat 6 comfortably.
Let's see. 1, 2. I think 6 would be cosy, but 5 would be. Well, it depends.
And just where I was, so opposite the galley, coming onto the port side, you have a large 2-seater there. That backrest may not look that high, but it is quite high. It's got very good lumbar support, and obviously very sociable for the galley. Quite like the fact that you have a folding table.
I also like you can get out this side. If you're one cooking, you can just slip in and be part of it
Yeah.
and carry on cooking.
And then an option for a drop-down table if you wish. Right next to me, now the door closes up. Let's come out and show you. So we'll come over on this side.
Yeah.
You have your engine start-stop over here, which is very important.
Both too.
Yeah, 1 second. And storage. So wet gear storage. Behind here, so everything drips down into the bilge. There's a speaker below, and just next door you have a warm air heater and vent. I think it's pretty good. Access to your engine is just under companionway. I'll have a look at that in a second, so I won't mention that for the minute. Sorry, what did you want to point out?
Have you got more storage behind here?
So storage behind the bench seats.
Goes all the way around.
Opening port lights. So both starboard and port and forward, so by your compression post, there's opening port lights, and there is an option for air conditioning if you're going to spend time in the tropics, which, you know.
You could do that very comfortably.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy on all.
I mean, size-wise, I'm going to sit next to you for a minute. So, size-wise, what do you think? Family 4?
Easy.
So I think it'd be more than comfortable with us, Abigail and the dog. I think there's plenty of space.
Yep.
It's surprising. I'm going to keep saying this, that even though it's marked on the book as 37 feet, it's actually 39 foot, 4.5 metre beam. Absolutely massive. Right, so facing the companionway, port side, you have your secondary cabin. So I actually think it's a big cabin. You've got a double and access to steering and services aft. There is an option. They have done this before, request for customers. And I would recommend it on the larger boats, not so much on this one, but this would be your normal lazarette. And if you want to, you can actually have that removed. There's a really good shelf down on the side, lovely port light, and all importantly, opening hatch outboard, and then one that actually goes directly up into the cockpit. Then just to my left hand side here, you've got quite a generous hanging locker, and just below the boxes, if you want to, you can remove this so you can have larger things hanging up, or have storage boxes underneath for bits and pieces. I think that's quite clever. Nicely veneered. Down this side of the door you have access into the mechanical space, and then below my feet, we're trying to show you as much as we can, guys. There is access so as you can see, you got a through valve there, and your what's his face for your sog and cog, all that business. So dry bilge, pretty much. It's brilliant.
I'll put it back in.
Okay. Coming out of this cabin, directly across from the companionway, you have your heads. This one has been set up with a manual flush, but I'm sure there's an option for a Jabsco electric if you wish. I think manual's fine, as every now and then you put a bit of fresh water down it. Prevents all those odours, and generally there are less problems with manual flushes. They're quieter, so it's quite nice because, you know, you have a separate heads and shower, wash basin, bit of storage underneath. Something I quite like, I haven't mentioned it, and I should have done in the galley, but the fiddles are actually done out of milled aluminium, which I think is really nice. It's very, very different. It's one less thing to maintain because it's aluminium, not having to worry about varnish or oils. Opening hatch just here. There is one through here that's, you know, has a privacy cloth to open there, which is quite cool. Access to grey water tanks behind, and then the pièce de resistance, you have your workshop and storage room. This white on here is actually cork insulation. It's coloured. If you want a factory tour, we did a factory visit. If you want to see that, please let us know in the comments below. It's really, really interesting. They've offered to give us full, bigger access if that's what you want, so you can see how these boats are made from start to finish. And I can tell you, it's really, really interesting. And then you'll get the full story on how this cork insulation is done. It's absolutely brilliant. So on the outboard side, you actually have a sea berth. So be a work table come sea berth. This one is, well, set up storage. You might be able to see the mattress there. Shelving and storage to the side. As you can see, these owners are getting it set up, ready to go. Cockpit cushions are in here, so it's a little bit more difficult to go through, but all underneath there is storage all the way through. These bars lift out so you can have crates in here, which I think would be a very, very good idea. Access to mechanical space here, and then I won't undo too many, But as you can see behind the engine, you have more space, access to main fuses. As you can see, it's marked up there, short power unit and so on. And there's space for a generator or a washing machine if you're going off around the world and you're doing bits and pieces. You have direct access through from the cockpit, which we'll show from the cockpit in the minute up here. So while you're underway or you need to get something out, you don't have to come down below to get it. And then aft is you have access to your steering. So as we said before, twin rudder. They are sealed captive units for the rudder stocks there. So not really bothered about orcas sinking this boat. More on that another time. But yeah, you know. And then that access panel I showed you in the port cabin gives you access like this too. So redundancy.
And I don't think that's going to be
So you also can remove all this.
They are reaching a level.
This will come down.
Because here you already have the filter, and but you can remove this, so you have a nice access to access
as well.
from the heads from the cabin.
Down here,
Yeah,
just on the other side behind
Yes.
the door here,
yeah,
and then the same on the other side.
exactly.
Perfect.
That's what they.
Okay, so this is a quick tour, but you can have the spirit of this boat. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Look forward to getting out.
If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments below. We'll have an opportunity to see the boats later on in the year. We will sometime get on a 43 foot. And as we've said before, if you want that full tour of the factory visit, let us know in the comments below, because they've agreed to open it all up to us. You know, they're not hiding anything, which is unusual. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you on the next one.